Have you ever heard a strange buzzing, ringing, or humming sound in your ear, even when everything around you is completely silent? It might last for a few seconds, or it might follow you all day, even into the night. That faint buzzing in your ear may sound harmless, but science suggests it could be the acoustic fingerprint of inflammation, quietly spreading through your body. Deep inside your inner ear lives a fragile system of microscopic hair cells that translate vibrations into electrical signals your brain understands as sound. These cells are so delicate that they cannot regenerate once damaged, not by time, not by medicine, not even by surgery. And what threatens them the most is something you cannot hear, feel, or see: chronic inflammation. Research shows that when inflammation enters the bloodstream, it begins to damage the endothelial lining of your smallest blood vessels. Now, here's what's terrifying. The inner ear depends on some of the tiniest blood vessels in your entire body. Even a slight reduction in oxygen supply can cause these sensory cells to become electrically unstable. Instead of transmitting real sound, they begin firing random distress signals directly to your brain. Signals your brain interprets as buzzing, ringing, or humming in total silence. This is why scientists are now linking tinnitus to systemic inflammatory conditions, including cardiovascular disease and metabolic dysfunction. In fact, reduced microcirculation in the cochlea has been observed in patients with chronic inflammatory markers in their blood, meaning the sound you hear may actually be the biological echo of restricted blood flow. Inflammation doesn't just affect your joints or muscles, it can interfere with neural signaling in the auditory pathway itself. Cytokines released during inflammation can disrupt the electrochemical balance required for accurate sound processing. This creates what neurologists call phantom perception, a sound that doesn't exist in your environment, but exists inside your nervous system. And the longer inflammation persists, the more permanent this misfiring can become. Left unchecked, this process may slowly transform temporary ringing into lifelong tinnitus. So when your ear begins to buzz without warning, it may not be random at all. It may be your body's earliest alarm bell, asking you to listen before silence becomes noise forever. That persistent buzzing in your ear might not be coming from the outside world at all. It could be the sound of your own blood struggling to move through vessels that are no longer flowing the way they should. Your inner ear is powered by a single, incredibly narrow artery that delivers oxygen to the cochlea, the structure responsible for converting vibrations into the language of your brain. Unlike most organs in your body, this artery has no backup supply. If circulation drops even slightly, your hearing system begins to suffer almost immediately. Scientific imaging studies have shown that reduced cochlear blood flow can trigger abnormal neural activity in the auditory pathway, activity that your brain may interpret as ringing, humming, or a low electrical buzz in silence. When blood becomes thicker due to dehydration, high cholesterol, or elevated blood pressure, it can create turbulence inside these tiny vessels. That turbulence may generate mechanical vibrations that are transmitted directly to the inner ear. In some cases, people are literally hearing their own disrupted circulation. This is known as pulsatile tinnitus, a rhythmic sound that often matches your heartbeat. And it may be one of the earliest warning signs of vascular dysfunction. Poor circulation doesn't just starve your inner ear of oxygen, it also impairs the removal of metabolic waste from nerve tissue. Over time, this toxic buildup can irritate auditory neurons, causing them to fire erratically. Research suggests that compromised microvascular health is associated with a higher risk of chronic tinnitus. And the longer oxygen delivery remains unstable, the greater the risk of permanent sensory damage. Because once these sound processing cells are deprived for too long, they begin to die, silently, irreversibly. So when your ear begins to buzz without explanation, it might not be an ear problem at all. It may be the sound of your circulation asking for help before the damage becomes permanent. That quiet buzzing in your ear may not begin in your ear at all. It may begin in your brain's stress response system. When your body senses pressure, fear, or emotional overload, it releases powerful hormones like cortisol and adrenaline into your bloodstream. These chemicals are designed to keep you alive in moments of danger. But when stress becomes chronic, they begin to rewire how your nervous system responds to sound. Studies have shown that prolonged exposure to elevated cortisol levels can increase the excitability of sensory neurons, including the auditory nerve, the very pathway that carries sound signals from your inner ear to your brain. As this nerve becomes overstimulated, it may start amplifying background electrical noise that would normally go unnoticed. Noise that your brain suddenly interprets as ringing, humming, or a high-pitched buzz. This is why tinnitus often worsens during periods of emotional stress, anxiety, or sleep deprivation. Because stress doesn't just affect your mood, it changes your neural gain control, a mechanism your brain uses to filter important sounds from meaningless internal signals. When this filter becomes unstable, internal electrical activity can leak into conscious perception, creating what neuroscientists describe as a centralized phantom sound. Research using functional brain imaging has revealed increased activity in the auditory cortex of individuals under chronic stress, even in completely silent environments, meaning the sound may not be coming from your ear, but from hyperactive neural circuits inside your brain. Over time, this heightened sensitivity can train your brain to expect the noise. And once that loop is established, the ringing can persist long after the original stress has passed. Your nervous system essentially learns the sound and refuses to forget it. So when your ear begins to buzz during stressful moments, it may be your brain's way of telling you that the pressure you feel emotionally is now being heard physically. That strange buzzing in your ear may feel like it's coming from deep inside your head, but its origin could actually begin in your gut. Inside your digestive system live trillions of microbes that form what scientists call the gut microbiome. And these microscopic organisms don't just help you digest food, they help regulate inflammation, immunity, and even nerve signaling. Through a complex communication network known as the gut-brain axis, your gut is constantly sending biochemical messages to your central nervous system. But recent research suggests this communication may also extend to your auditory pathway. When your gut microbiome becomes imbalanced due to processed foods, sugar, chronic stress, or antibiotics, it can trigger systemic inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation that doesn't stay in your stomach, but travels through your bloodstream to your brain and nerve tissue. This can disrupt the delicate electrochemical environment required for accurate sound processing, leading to abnormal neural firing patterns in the auditory system, patterns your brain may interpret as buzzing, ringing, or phantom noise in total silence. Scientists have discovered that harmful gut bacteria can increase the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines. These immune molecules are capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier. Once inside, they may interfere with neurotransmitters responsible for sensory filtering and neural stability, meaning your brain may begin amplifying internal signals that should have been ignored. This may explain why people with digestive disorders sometimes report increased sensitivity to sound or persistent tinnitus. An unhealthy gut doesn't just affect digestion. It can alter how your brain interprets reality itself. Over time, chronic gut-driven inflammation may heighten neural excitability in the auditory cortex, allowing phantom sounds to become louder, more frequent, and harder to ignore. So when your ear begins to buzz without reason, it may be your gut sending a signal that something deeper is out of balance. That constant buzzing in your ear may not be caused by noise, but by something missing from your body entirely, because your auditory system depends on a precise balance of nutrients to keep nerve signals stable and blood vessels responsive. And when even one essential micronutrient runs low, your hearing may begin to suffer in silence. Take magnesium, for example, a mineral known to regulate blood flow to the inner ear. Scientific studies suggest that magnesium helps relax the smooth muscles surrounding tiny cochlear blood vessels. Without it, those vessels may constrict, reducing the oxygen supply to your sound processing cells. Now consider vitamin B12, a nutrient essential for maintaining the protective myelin sheath around your nerves. Low B12 levels have been linked to neurological disturbances, including abnormal auditory perception. When this vitamin is deficient, nerve signals may slow down, or misfire entirely, creating electrical confusion that your brain may interpret as ringing or buzzing. Zinc plays another critical role by supporting immune defense and cellular repair inside the inner ear. Research has shown that people with chronic tinnitus often have lower serum zinc levels than those without it. Omega-3 fatty acids help maintain the flexibility of blood vessels and reduce inflammatory stress on nerve tissue. Without enough omega-3s, circulation may become less efficient and nerve cells more vulnerable to damage. Over time, these deficiencies may compromise your auditory pathway's ability to transmit clean, accurate signals. Instead, unstable neural activity may begin leaking into conscious awareness as a phantom sound that wasn't triggered by anything in your environment. And the most alarming part is, nutrient deficiencies often develop slowly without obvious symptoms until your nervous system begins sounding the alarm in the only way it can. So when your ear starts to buzz without warning, it may be your body's way of telling you that your hearing is being starved at the cellular level. What if the food on your plate could quietly determine whether that buzzing in your ear fades away or becomes a permanent part of your life? Because the same inflammation that damages your heart and brain can also injure the microscopic structures responsible for your hearing. And emerging research suggests that anti-inflammatory foods may help protect the tiny blood vessels that nourish your inner ear. These vessels are so small that even mild oxidative stress can disrupt oxygen delivery to your sound-sensitive cells. When inflammation tightens or damages these pathways, auditory neurons may begin firing erratically, producing the phantom signals your brain interprets as ringing or buzzing in silence. But certain plant compounds, known as polyphenols, have been shown to improve endothelial function and microcirculation, meaning they may help restore healthy blood flow to oxygen-starved sensory tissue. Leafy greens contain natural nitrates that support nitric oxide production, a molecule that relaxes blood vessels and enhances circulation deep within delicate nerve networks. Berries are rich in anthocyanins that help neutralize free radicals before they can damage neural membranes. Fatty fish provide omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammatory signaling and stabilize nerve communication. Garlic contains sulfur compounds linked to improved vascular elasticity. Turmeric delivers curcumin, a bioactive compound studied for its ability to suppress inflammatory cytokines. Green tea contains catechins that may help shield nerve cells from oxidative injury. Over time, these foods may create an internal environment where your auditory system can function without constant stress, supporting stable signal transmission between your inner ear and your brain. And while no single meal can silence tinnitus overnight, daily dietary choices may influence whether inflammation continues to disrupt your hearing. So when you choose what to eat each day, you may also be choosing what your nervous system hears tomorrow.